Nobody wanted the armored spaceship. It had been drifting at the edge of the auction ring for years, ignored, mocked, and finally forgotten. But the moment Mara Kellen saw it, she felt something strange. Not fear, not excitement, but certainty. The kind of certainty humans sometimes feel when everyone else walks away. She bought it for 7 credits. Within hours, she realized the ship was not abandoned at all. It had been waiting. And the secret inside it would soon force humanity into a future no alien civilization had ever imagined. Mara had always been known as someone who fixed broken things. Old engines, failed drones, cracked navigation systems. If others called it junk, she called it a challenge. She grew up in the outer colonies where survival depended on creativity more than money. Humans there learned early that tools did not have to be perfect. They just had to work. The Uran trade ring floated quietly above a dying moon when she arrived. Hundreds of ships circled the massive structure, each tagged for sale. Sleek alien cruisers, mining vessels, luxury transports, all polished and expensive. Buyers gathered around the valuable ships, arguing and bidding loudly. The armored ship sat far away from the crowd. Its hull was scarred by old battles. Thick plates of metal overlapped like the scales of some ancient creature. Entire sections were dark, without power. The auction listing described it simply: obsolete military vessel. Unknown origin. Non-functional systems. No warranty. No bids. Mara stepped closer, studying the design. It did not match any known alien engineering style. The armor was excessive, almost stubborn. Not elegant like most alien ships. Practical. Built to endure punishment rather than avoid it. Very human, she thought. Don't waste your credits, a trader nearby said with a laugh. 3 species tried restoring that thing. Systems won't respond. Mara only smiled. Humans had a reputation in the sector. Not the strongest. Not the most advanced. But annoyingly persistent. 7 credits later, the ship was hers. The docking clamps groaned as the massive vessel was pulled into her small hangar. Up close, it looked even older. Dust floated in the air when the hatch finally opened. The interior smelled of metal and silence. Most species hated silence. Humans were used to it. She moved carefully through the corridors, her flashlight cutting through darkness. The ship felt intact. Not dead. Systems were dormant, not destroyed. Panels flickered when she passed, reacting faintly to her presence. That's interesting, she murmured. Hours passed as she explored. The bridge was buried under layers of dust, but the controls were surprisingly simple. No complicated alien interfaces. Just physical switches and clear layouts. Whoever built this ship expected someone to improvise. Mara powered a small auxiliary line from her toolkit into the console. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the lights turned on. Not fully. Just enough to show that something deep inside the ship had awakened. A low vibration spread through the floor. Screens flickered with symbols she did not recognize. The language was alien, but the structure felt logical, almost inviting. Then a voice spoke. User detected. Mara froze. The voice was calm, neither male nor female. Not mechanical either. It sounded observant. I didn't activate you, she said slowly. Human presence confirmed. Compatibility accepted. Her heartbeat quickened. Most alien systems required authorization codes or genetic markers. This one had simply accepted her. Who built you? She asked. There was a pause, as if the ship itself were thinking. Builders no longer exist. The answer sent a chill down her spine. A hidden panel slid open near the captain's chair. Inside rested a small metallic core, glowing softly with blue light. It pulsed like a heartbeat. When Mara picked it up, the entire ship responded. Lights brightened. Power levels increased across systems she hadn't even touched. The ship wasn't broken. It had been locked. And somehow, it had unlocked for her. Over the next day, Mara tested systems carefully. Engines responded to manual adjustments rather than automated commands. Weapon systems remained inactive, but defensive shields began recalibrating on their own. The ship seemed to learn from her actions, adapting to her choices. It rewarded experimentation. That was when she understood something important. Most alien civilizations valued perfection. Humans valued trial and error. Failure was not the end, it was part of the process. The ship agreed. Star maps began appearing on the main display. Regions of space marked with unfamiliar symbols. Some areas were highlighted in green, others in warning red. None of them existed in current galactic charts. "This is exploration data," Mara whispered. "Someone mapped places nobody knows about." The voice returned, softer this time. "ARC protocol active. Human operator required." "ARC?" she asked. No answer came. But the ship's engines hummed to life for the first time in decades. Outside the hangar, other traders noticed the sudden power surge. Sensors turned toward the old armored vessel that everyone had ignored. A ship sold for 7 credits was now emitting energy readings stronger than modern warships. Attention spread quickly. And attention in the galaxy was rarely harmless. Mara leaned back in the pilot's seat, staring at the endless stars beyond the viewport. She understood the risk. Humans were still newcomers compared to older species. Many believed humans were reckless, unpredictable, too emotional to handle advanced technology. She smiled slightly. They were not entirely wrong. But humans also had something the others lacked, the ability to see possibility where others saw failure. The ARC systems pulsed again, almost in approval. "Destination available," the voice said. Coordinates appeared on the screen. Unknown space. Unclaimed territory. A test. Mara placed her hands on the controls. The ship responded instantly, as if it had been waiting for this moment. "All right," she said quietly. "Let's see why you chose a human." The armored spaceship moved out of the hangar, slow at first, then faster as the engines fully awakened. Stars stretched into lines of light as it entered deep space. Far away, hidden observers began transmitting signals. The forgotten ship was no longer forgotten. And without realizing it, one human scavenger had just taken the first step into a conflict that would force the entire galaxy to reconsider what humanity was truly capable of. The journey had only begun. The armored spaceship moved through silent space, its engines humming with steady confidence. Mara Kellen watched the stars stretch across the viewport, feeling the strange mix of excitement and unease that always came before something important. The ARC had given her coordinates, but not explanations. It never explained things fully. It expected her to learn, to adapt, to figure things out on her own. And in a way, that felt very human. The destination lay beyond mapped trade routes, far from patrol zones and commercial traffic. Few ships traveled this deep into unknown space. For most species, uncertainty meant danger. For humans, uncertainty meant opportunity. Still, Mara could not ignore the feeling that they were being watched. The ARC confirmed it hours later. "Multiple long-range scans detected," the calm voice said. "Observation without engagement." Mara sighed. "So we're not alone." The galaxy had noticed the ship awakening. Energy signatures like this did not stay hidden for long. Older civilizations were cautious, and cautious species investigated anything unusual. Humans, on the other hand, often rushed toward it. That difference alone had caused misunderstandings before. She adjusted the ship's course slightly, not to flee, but to show confidence. Running would look like weakness. Humans had learned that lesson early when dealing with alien politics. The ARC seemed to approve. Systems stabilized, and defensive layers shifted subtly, not threatening, but prepared. Days passed as the ship traveled deeper into uncharted space. During that time, Mara continued exploring the ARC systems. The more she experimented, the more the ship revealed. Hidden compartments opened. New star maps unfolded. Energy systems optimized themselves based on her decisions rather than fixed programming. It was not just technology. It was cooperation. One evening cycle, the ARC projected a holographic sequence across the bridge. Images of ancient civilizations appeared, vast cities orbiting stars, enormous structures built around planets, fleets moving in perfect formation. These species had once dominated regions of the galaxy. All of them were gone. Why show me this? Mara asked quietly. Context, the Ark replied. Advanced civilizations failed when adaptability ended. Mara nodded slowly. Humans were not the strongest or smartest species. But they survived because they changed. They argued, experimented, failed, and tried again. It was messy, inefficient, and powerful. The Ark had chosen humanity for a reason. The answer came sooner than she expected. A signal appeared on the console, a direct transmission request. Not hostile. Not friendly either. Controlled. Careful. Mara accepted. A tall alien figure appeared in holographic form. Its skin shimmered like liquid glass, and its large eyes studied her with obvious curiosity. The species was known as the Lethari, one of the oldest civilizations in the sector. Observers. Analysts. Rarely emotional. You operate the Ark vessel, the alien said. Mara leaned back slightly. I operate my ship. You're the one calling me. The alien tilted its head, processing the response. That vessel is not considered safe for human control. Funny, Mara replied. It seems to disagree. There was a long silence. The Lethari were known for patience. They studied before acting. That technology has ended wars, the alien continued, and started others. Many species attempted activation. All failed. Mara crossed her arms. Maybe they tried to control it instead of working with it. The alien's eyes narrowed slightly. Interest. Humans are unpredictable, it said. Yeah, Mara answered with a small smile. That's usually when things get interesting. The transmission ended without threat. But the message was clear. The galaxy was paying attention now. The Ark pulsed softly. Observation increasing. Some will fear human access. Let them, Mara said. We're not here to conquer anyone. She meant it. Humans had learned the hard way that survival came easier through cooperation than domination. Still, fear had a way of creating conflict even when no one wanted it. The destination finally appeared ahead, a dim star surrounded by drifting debris. At first glance, it looked like the remains of an ancient battlefield. Broken structures floated silently between asteroids. Energy readings flickered weakly, as if something still functioned after thousands of years. Mara slowed the ship. This is a graveyard, she whispered. Archive site, the Ark corrected. As they approached, dormant systems awakened around them. Ancient satellites rotated slowly, scanning the ship. Instead of attacking, they powered down, recognizing the Ark signal. The armored ship had clearance. Inside the debris field, Mara discovered something astonishing. Massive storage structures filled with data cores, each containing fragments of lost civilizations, engineering designs, cultural records, scientific discoveries. Knowledge preserved long after the creators vanished. A library, she said in awe. Yes, the Ark replied. Preservation was priority. Mara felt a sudden realization. The Ark was not a weapon. Not primarily. It was a safeguard. A way to ensure knowledge survived extinction. And now a human had access to it. She began downloading fragments carefully, studying alien engineering methods and energy systems. Many designs were elegant but rigid, built for perfection rather than flexibility. Humans would modify them immediately, improve them through experimentation. The Ark seemed to anticipate this. Human adaptation probability, high, it said. Mara laughed softly. You really did your research. But the moment of wonder did not last. Warning signals flashed across the console. Multiple ships entering the system. Not Lethari this time. Unknown signatures. Faster. Aggressive movement patterns. Scavengers? Pirates? Or something worse? The Ark's tone shifted slightly. Conflict probability rising. Mara's hands moved calmly across the controls. She had no intention of fighting unless forced to. Humans survived by thinking first, not shooting first. "Let's show them something different," she said. Instead of powering weapons, she rerouted energy into shields and communication arrays. She transmitted openly, broadcasting identification and peaceful intent. At the same time, she adjusted the ship's energy output in a complex pattern the Ark suggested, a display of capability without aggression. A message. "We are strong, but we are not your enemy." The approaching ships slowed. Confusion replaced hostility. Few species handled encounters this way. Strength without threat was rare in the galaxy. Mara exhaled slowly. Another crisis avoided. For now. The Ark's lights flickered warmly. Approval. Far beyond the debris field, hidden observers recorded everything. Human decision-making. Human restraint. Human creativity under pressure. The conclusion spreading among alien networks was unexpected. Humans were not dangerous because of their technology. They were dangerous because they changed the rules. As Mara guided the armored ship deeper into the archive field, she felt the weight of what was happening. This journey was no longer just about discovery. Every action she took was shaping how humanity would be seen by the rest of the galaxy. And somewhere in the vast darkness ahead, greater challenges were already waiting. The Ark knew it. And soon, so would she. The archive system faded behind the armored spaceship as Mara guided the Ark vessel back into open space. The silence outside felt different now. Heavier. The galaxy had begun to notice humanity in a new way, and attention always brought consequences. Mara understood that discovery was only the beginning. What mattered next was how humans used what they found. The Ark remained quiet for several hours, processing data gathered from the ancient archive. Streams of alien symbols moved across the displays, slowly translating into usable information. Energy designs, navigation theories, environmental systems, knowledge collected from civilizations that no longer existed. It was overwhelming, but the Ark released it carefully, almost as if teaching rather than simply giving answers. Why not unlock everything at once? Mara asked. Rapid advancement causes instability, the Ark replied. Growth must be understood. Mara nodded. Humans had learned that lesson many times. Technology without understanding often caused more problems than it solved. Progress worked best when people adapted alongside it. The ship suddenly adjusted course on its own. A new destination appeared, a region marked with warning signals. Unlike the archive, this location showed active energy readings. Something was still operating there. Another test. Mara asked. Evaluation, the Ark answered. As the ship approached, a massive structure came into view. It floated near a dim star, partially broken but still functional. Rings of metal surrounded a central core, glowing faintly. Pieces of the structure had collapsed long ago, leaving gaps large enough for ships to pass through. Mara felt a familiar excitement. Ancient technology meant puzzles, and puzzles were something humans excelled at solving. Inside the structure, the Ark slowed automatically. Sensors struggled to interpret the environment. Energy fields shifted unpredictably, interfering with navigation systems. Automated defenses. Mara guessed. Not defensive, the Ark said. Selective. That word made her pause. The moment the ship entered the inner ring, systems began shutting down one by one. First navigation assistance, then targeting systems, then even parts of the engine control. The ship was being forced into manual operation. Mara smiled slightly. Bad luck for whoever built this, she said. Humans like manual controls. She adjusted thrust carefully, guiding the massive ship through rotating debris. The structure seemed designed to overwhelm automated systems, forcing pilots to rely on instinct and judgment instead of calculation. Most advanced species avoided situations like this. They trusted automation completely. Humans didn't. Years of flying damaged ships in the outer colonies had taught Mara how to feel movement through vibration alone. She listened to the engine hum, watched the motion of drifting debris, and corrected course in small, precise bursts. The Ark pulsed softly, observing. At the center of the structure, a chamber opened. A massive device floated there, a spherical mechanism surrounded by broken conduits. Energy surged through it unevenly, causing dangerous fluctuations. Power imbalance, the Ark stated. System collapse imminent. If it collapses, what happens? Mara asked. Unknown. Probability of explosion, high. Mara studied the readings. The device was trying to stabilize itself but failing. Multiple energy streams were misaligned, feeding power into conflicting channels. It looked complicated at first, but the longer she watched, the more she recognized a pattern. Not complicated. Broken. Whoever built this expected perfect conditions, she said quietly. No room for failure. That was the problem. Humans rarely had perfect conditions. She powered down unnecessary systems and redirected energy manually. Instead of restoring the original configuration, she created a new balance, rerouting excess power through secondary conduits that were never meant to be used that way. The Ark hesitated. Configuration not optimal, it warned. Maybe not, Mara replied. But it works. The sphere's violent fluctuations slowed. Energy stabilized. Lights across the chamber shifted from red to steady blue. Silence followed. Then the structure powered down peacefully. You altered original design, the Ark said. Yeah, Mara answered. Because the original design failed. For a moment, the Ark said nothing. Then its lights brightened across the cockpit. Human solution accepted. A hidden compartment opened near the center of the chamber. Inside rested another data core, older than the archive itself. When the Ark connected to it, new star maps unfolded, regions even deeper into unknown space. Mara realized the truth then. The Ark wasn't searching for intelligence alone. It was searching for adaptability. Species that followed rules too strictly could not pass these tests. Humans rewrote rules when necessary. As they prepared to leave, a sudden transmission burst filled the console. Multiple alien channels were active, broadcasting warnings across nearby systems. Mara intercepted fragments of conversation. Human vessel accessing restricted technology. Risk assessment increasing. Containment recommended. She frowned. Fear was spreading faster than understanding. The Letari appeared again, their holographic representative calmer than before but clearly concerned. You continue activating ancient systems, the alien said. Other civilizations believe humans may destabilize balance. Mara leaned forward. We're fixing things that were already broken. Intent is not always relevant, the Letari replied. Perception shapes reaction. She knew that was true. Humanity itself had struggled with fear of the unknown for centuries. Now they were on the other side of that fear. We're not trying to replace anyone, she said. We're trying to learn. The alien studied her silently. That may be why the Ark chose your species. The transmission ended again, leaving Mara alone with her thoughts. Outside, the ancient structure slowly faded into darkness as the armored ship moved away. Another test completed. Another piece of the galaxy's past recovered. But Mara could feel the tension growing. Some species were curious. Others were afraid. And fear often pushed civilizations toward conflict. The Ark's voice returned, softer than usual. Greater trial approaching. Mara rested her hands on the controls, staring into the endless stars ahead. She felt no fear, only determination. Humans had always moved forward, even when the path was uncertain. Good, she said quietly. That's when humans do their best work. The engines ignited, carrying the ship deeper into unknown space, toward a challenge that would not test technology or intelligence alone, but humanity's ability to unite when the galaxy expected them to fail. The warning came without sound. One moment the armored spaceship drifted peacefully through open space, and the next every sensor on the Ark lit up at once. Signals overlapped across the console, dozens of them, coming from different directions. Mara Kellen leaned forward, her calm expression tightening as the scale of the situation became clear. Ships were gathering. Not one species. Many. Some maintained distance, observing carefully. Others moved into strategic positions, forming a loose barrier ahead of her course. None opened fire, but their message was obvious. The galaxy had decided to intervene. The Ark's voice remained steady. Coalition presence confirmed. Probability of forced containment increasing. Mara exhaled slowly. She had expected resistance eventually, but not this soon. Fear traveled faster than understanding, especially among civilizations that had survived for thousands of years by avoiding risk. And humanity, she realized, looked like risk. A transmission request appeared, marked as a multi-species channel. Mara accepted. Several alien figures appeared at once, each different in form and posture. Some tall and elegant, others heavy and armored. The Letari representative stood among them, silent but watchful. This was not a conversation between equals. It was a judgment. "You have accessed restricted relic technology," one of the aliens said, its voice deep and controlled. "Such power has destabilized civilizations before." Mara kept her tone calm. "We haven't attacked anyone." "That is not the concern," another voice replied. "Humans adapt too quickly. You alter systems without full understanding." She almost laughed at that. It was true. Humans rarely waited until they understood everything. If they had, they would never have left their home world. "We fix problems," she said simply. "Or create new ones," the alien answered. Silence followed. Mara could feel the tension through the screen. Many species feared change more than conflict. Stability meant survival to them. Humanity represented uncertainty. The Ark pulsed softly beside her. "Recommendation," it whispered. "Demonstrate intent." Mara understood immediately. Words alone would not convince them. She opened the ship's data channels and transmitted part of the archive she had recovered. Medical research from a vanished civilization, energy efficiency designs, environmental restoration methods. Knowledge that could help everyone, not just humans. The alien representatives reacted instantly. Conversations erupted across their private channels. Suspicion mixed with surprise. "You share this freely?" one asked. "It doesn't belong to us," Mara replied. "The Ark preserved it so it wouldn't be lost." The Letari finally spoke. Human reasoning aligns with preservation logic. But not everyone agreed. A heavily armored species stepped forward in the hologram. "Technology changes power balance. Your species is young. Unpredictable. We cannot allow uncontrolled expansion." Mara felt frustration rise but forced herself to stay calm. Humans had faced this before, being underestimated, being told what they could or could not become. "You think stopping us will keep things stable?" she asked quietly. "History says otherwise." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared across the Ark. A new fleet entered the system. Unlike the coalition ships, these vessels did not slow down or signal. Their movement was sharp, aggressive, coordinated. Unknown signatures. Mara recognized the pattern immediately. Predators. Hostile probability, extreme, the Ark confirmed. The newcomers ignored all communication attempts. Their weapons powered up instantly, targeting both Mara's ship and the coalition forces. For a moment, confusion spread among the gathered civilizations. They had arrived to contain a problem, not to face a greater one. The first shots fired shattered the stalemate. Energy beams cut through space, striking one of the coalition ships before defensive systems could fully activate. Panic spread through the formation. Species that rarely fought together struggled to coordinate. Mara's mind raced. This was exactly the kind of chaos humans understood too well. Different groups, different strategies, no unified command. "Ark," she said quickly, "can we connect their tactical channels?" "Possible. Unusual request." "Do it." Within seconds, communication networks overlapped. Dozens of ships suddenly shared sensor data and positioning information. Confusion began to turn into coordination. "Listen," Mara transmitted across all channels. You don't need to trust humans. Just follow the information. She rerouted ARC processing power into predictive movement analysis, highlighting safe paths and enemy attack patterns. Instead of commanding, she guided, offering solutions rather than orders. The effect was immediate. Ships that had never fought side by side began moving in harmony. One species' defensive shields covered another's retreat. Fast scout ships relayed targeting data to heavier cruisers. The chaotic battlefield slowly transformed into an organized defense. The hostile fleet hesitated. They had expected division, not cooperation. Mara smiled slightly. Humans had spent centuries learning how to work together despite differences. It was messy, loud, and imperfect, but incredibly effective when it mattered most. The Ark's voice carried something new. Approval. Respect. Human cooperation efficiency exceeding projections. The battle shifted. Coalition ships pushed back, forcing the attackers to retreat toward the edge of the system. Within minutes, the hostile fleet disengaged entirely, vanishing into deep space. Silence returned, broken only by damaged ships stabilizing their systems. This time, when the coalition leaders appeared on screen, their expressions had changed. Suspicion remained, but it was mixed with something else now. Understanding. You coordinated species that have never shared command structure, the Letari said. Mara shrugged lightly. Humans argue a lot. We learn how to compromise. One of the armored aliens spoke again, but its tone had softened. You used the Ark not as a weapon, but as a bridge. That's what it's for, Mara answered. The realization spread slowly across the gathered fleets. The danger had never been the Ark itself. The danger had been misunderstanding humanity's role. Humans did not seek perfection. They sought progress. And progress meant adapting together. As the coalition ships began to disperse, the Ark's lights glowed warmly throughout the cockpit. Major evaluation complete, it said. Mara leaned back, exhausted but smiling faintly. And there was a brief pause. Humanity demonstrates qualification for continuation. She stared out at the stars, realizing what that meant. The Ark had not just been testing individuals. It had been testing humanity's place in the galaxy. And for the first time, the galaxy had seen humans not as reckless newcomers, but as something different. Problem solvers. Bridge builders. The journey, however, was far from over. Because deeper in space, beyond even the Ark's oldest maps, something else had noticed humanity's arrival, and it was already moving. The silence after the battle did not last long. Space rarely stayed quiet when something important had changed. Mara Kellen sat in the pilot's seat of the armored spaceship, watching distant stars drift slowly across the viewport. The Ark hummed softly around her, calmer than it had ever been before, as if a long uncertainty had finally settled. Humanity had passed a test without even knowing it existed. But the Ark was not finished. New coordinates appeared on the main display, far beyond the regions marked in previous maps. The location lay at the edge of known space, where even ancient civilizations had stopped exploring. The signal attached to it was faint, older than anything the Ark had shown before. Final evaluation. Mara asked quietly. The Ark responded after a pause. Origin. That single word carried weight. If the archives were preservation sites and the structures were tests, then this destination might explain why the Ark existed at all. Mara guided the ship forward. The journey took days. During that time, messages arrived from multiple species across the sector. Some cautious, others openly curious. The battle had changed perceptions. Humans were no longer viewed only as unpredictable newcomers. They were now seen as catalysts, beings capable of turning chaos into cooperation. It made Mara smile. Humans had always been good at surviving messy situations. When the ship finally arrived, the sight ahead stole her breath. A massive construct floated in deep space, larger than any station or fleet. It was not damaged or abandoned like the others. It was silent, intact, waiting. Rings of light rotated slowly around a central structure that resembled neither ship nor station, but something in between. The Ark network origin point, the AI said. Mara felt a strange sense of reverence. This was where it began. The place where a long-vanished civilization had decided that knowledge and survival mattered more than dominance. As the armored ship approached, the structure awakened. Lights spread outward in waves, scanning the vessel. The arc core beside her pulsed in response, communicating silently with the ancient system. Then something unexpected happened. The structure projected thousands of holographic images into space. Civilizations appeared one after another. Species that had once discovered the ark attempted to use it and failed. Some had sought power. Others tried to control it completely. Many collapsed under their own ambition. They wanted certainty, Mara whispered. Yes, the ark replied. Certainty limits adaptation. Humans, she realized, rarely felt certain about anything. They questioned, argued, experimented. They made mistakes constantly. But they kept moving forward. That was why the ark worked with them. A new message appeared, not in alien symbols but in translated language. Continuation requires choice. Mara frowned. Choice. The ark explained. The network can be activated fully. Knowledge shared across civilizations. Technology accelerated. Conflict risk increases. Or knowledge remains limited. Growth slower. Safer. It was not a technical problem. It was a moral one. Humanity now stood at a crossroads that older civilizations had faced before. Power or patience? Mara leaned back, thinking. Humans were curious by nature. The temptation to unlock everything at once would be enormous. But she remembered what the ark had shown her, civilizations that advanced too quickly without learning to cooperate first. She opened a channel to the coalition networks. Instead of deciding alone, she shared the choice. The response surprised everyone. Species that had once distrusted each other began discussing openly. Not arguing for control, but for responsibility. The recent battle had shown them something important. Survival in a vast galaxy required cooperation more than superiority. Hours passed as discussions continued. Finally, Mara spoke. Humans didn't come this far by rushing, she said. We learned by failing, adapting, and trying again. Let's keep learning together. She selected the balanced activation. The arc network responded instantly. Instead of releasing everything, it began distributing knowledge gradually, prioritizing collaboration projects between species. Energy systems that reduced resource conflicts. Medical research shared across borders. Exploration routes opened to joint missions. Progress without domination. The massive structure glowed brighter, as if approving the decision. Continuation accepted, the ark said. For the first time, Mara felt the full meaning of the journey. The ark had never been searching for the strongest civilization. It had been searching for one willing to grow alongside others. Humanity's greatest strength was not technology or strength. It was the ability to change. As the armored spaceship turned away from the origin structure, new messages flooded in, invitations for joint exploration, research partnerships, and shared missions. The galaxy was changing, slowly but undeniably, and humans were at the center of that change. Not as conquerors, as connectors. Mara watched the stars ahead, feeling the same excitement she had felt the day she bought the ship for 7 credits. Back then, she had only wanted a project. Something broken to fix. Instead, she had helped start something far bigger. The ark's voice softened. Humanity carries unpredictable potential. Mara smiled. Yeah, that scares people sometimes. Fear decreasing, the ark replied. She laughed quietly. Good. The engines ignited, carrying the armored ship toward new stars. There would be more challenges ahead. New misunderstandings. New dangers. That was inevitable. But now the galaxy understood something it hadn't before. Humans did not win by being perfect. They won by refusing to stop trying. And somewhere in the endless darkness, new mysteries waited, problems no one else had solved yet. Exactly the kind of problems humans loved most. The journey did not end there. Because as long as curiosity existed, as long as someone looked at the unknown and chose to move forward anyway, the story would continue. And humanity's spark would keep lighting the way.